Morning, Jimmy Krotov speaking. I try to hide the lamp over my back. I'm late because I was on the walk. Um, Actually, I combine brain and walk. It helps me. So walk is a sort of spiritual re- retreat for me. Uh, it's very strange, but when I go to the basin to swim, it's just the opposite. I cannot pray when I am swimming. Physically, I'm refreshed when I'm swimming. It's not as hard as to walk, but I can pray. Anyway, uh, the difference between walk and travel. I should write it in Russian certainly, but I want to try to formulate it in English. Not because English is the different language, more rational, as sometimes is said. No, because it's an alien language to me. It's useful. It's just as using Latin in the Mass or Old Slavonic in the worship. It makes brains work in a little bit different way. Mind, I'm not for the Old Slavonic or Latin or Sanskrit while speaking with God, addressing God, better to say, because prayer is in itself, herself, prayer is per se, um, well, usual communication is like walking, and prayer is like swimming, or better to say, flight. Actually, when I'm swimming, from time to time, I stop and then just resting on the wall. And even if I'm swimming, I'm not a great swimmer, for sure, but it's like a flight. The difference between walk and travel, I'm not traveling through Moscow, I'm walking because it's my own town. I know everything which will be on the next step. I know what roof means what. Um, so it's not friendly. It's a deeply non-friendly town for me because I'm here like a man in his house, and the house is occupied by uh, evildoers, by bandits. So, but I know everything. The first time in my life when I got the sense of a trip, it seems to me, those who use drugs, narcomans, uh, say trip about their psychedelic experience. Yeah. So trip, travel, progress, way of pilgrim's way, pilgrim's progress. Yes, Benyon. When I was 15 and I was allowed to go by myself alone on the train to St. Petersburg, and when I came out of the train on the Moscow railway station of Petersburg, I was hyper excited. I'm free. It's the new life. Now I know that St. Petersburg is a very small town in comparison with Rome, Vienna, Paris, Berlin. It's a sort of Amsterdam, but Amsterdam, which was unproportionally um, as if you and Amsterdam became large. I don't remember how it's in English. No, to breathe into the okay. I was excited. I didn't know anything about these buildings, about these people, and it was an impression that here new life began. It was not so, certainly, but still it was a great entertainment. Uh, and from the and for many years, when I had money, I myself and with my wife, we went to some foreign city, foreign country, On the car, when we have a lot of money, there was such a period. On the car, it's certainly just another level of freedom. Just to enter the city and you don't know anything. Or you go through the road and you can stop anytime. This is why the car is more preferable than the excursion in the bus or in the train. And you can turn right or left and see something unexpected. So when we say the way of Jesus, and he himself, Lord Jesus himself, called his teaching, what we call teaching in the ancient world was called the way. Tao, that means the way. And when the gospel speaks about the way as the teaching, it's great. It's a great metaphor. It's a great comparison. Because when I try to live according to the commandments, to the words of God, of Lord Jesus, who is Son of God and God, it's just like walking, traveling in the new world. Not because I create a new world when I do not kill, when I do not hate, do not lie, and so on and so forth. I really enter the new world with the new relationships between people. It's God's world, God's kingdom, Christ's kingdom. And it is very interesting because always something new. Okay, sorry for the long speech. 7 minutes. Lord have mercy. Bye. And subscribe, please. Even if you came by chance, I need 1,000 subscribers to make the direct streaming on the street. Not that I prefer to stream from the street, but really, actually, in the morning, I have the habit now to walk outside. And 8 o'clock in the morning now, we have breakfast at 9 o'clock because my wife is still asleep. And 8 o'clock is... And I will show you Moscow. So if you have English-speaking friends, or French-speaking friends, or Hindu-speaking friends, just ask them also to subscribe. I don't think that you'll receive notifications or something like this very often. And Valerius have written that notifications about my broadcasts come too late, but this is not my fault. I don't know why. I try to broadcast at 8 o'clock a.m. through the according to the Moscow time or Jerusalem time. It's just the same, or Kiev time. Yeah, and I've promised to say something about the war in Ukraine. I'm afraid for the Ukrainians because this mobilization, I see a lot of American propaganda in the YouTube because I don't read any news except CNN and NBC, and they speak very little about the war in Ukraine, very little, mostly about the midterm elections. But when I enter YouTube, I see the Russian texts, the Russian announcements, and this is the Western, mostly American propaganda, very anti-Russian, very dirty, I dare to say, that Russia is bad, mobilization will be a disaster, Russian army is very weak, and so on and so forth. War propaganda, war enemy is weak, silly, so he's very dangerous because he's weak and silly. It's irrational, but this is our intelligence. I am sure that Russian leader is not silly man, he's not a madman. No more than Trump or Biden. He's just the usual political leader of the medieval type. That's all. And most political leaders in modern world are of medieval type. You've been lucky to have Obama, you Americans. And I'm afraid that Russia will wage war, and you see, West immediately sent his warplanes and his army, and America sent her soldiers to Serbia, former Yugoslavia, because it's a small country. It was easy to make it a peaceful land. Peaceful. But Russia is large, wealthy, materially powerful country with atomic weapon. So the West is afraid to send army, and he's right. It's very dangerous. I don't know what to do. I'm the pacifist. I'm against any war at all. I don't know. But I can say yes. Should I be in Ukraine or in New York, I shall suggest to Ukrainians to surrender. Give them all these lands. Why Donbass and Lugansk? Why Crimea? Because not even a square meter of any land is worth of human life. Borders are abstract entities, and human is real. And to change real life with abstract entities, no. Simply speaking, that if they will receive these lands with these people, they will kill them all. But that's not true. I'm alive. And I repeat, my house, my country was occupied by Lenin, Stalin, and so forth and so forth. But still, they do need, not me personally, they do need people to live, to dominate. So it's not as simple. This is the best idea, the best of my ideas is, it came to me yesterday that let all humankind, all 8 billions, surrender to Kremlin and say, you are our lords, come and rule. So 50 millions of Russians will disperse in these 8 billions, and the whole world will become one state, one united humankind, democratic certainly, because most people are pro-democracy, no? I don't know. I hope so. Bye. Jimmy Krot of Moscow.